Grant Haferman. It is estimated that without the passing of the Endangered Species Act, 227 species may have gone extinct. This is according to Kieran Suckling, who co-founded the Center for Biological Diversity more than 20 years ago, in a report for the Center for Biological Diversity database published in 2019. Biological diversity is something that impacts all organisms, especially all of us. Tedros Adhanom, who received his Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Asmara and is currently Director General of the World Health Organization, in a report for the World Health Organization database published in 2019, states that biological diversity has a direct impact on the availability of ecosystem products that we use, such as food, fresh water, and fuel sources. Despite the overwhelming success of the Endangered Species Act, it is in serious danger of being damaged significantly. First, I will talk about what the Endangered Species Act is. Second, I will talk about the previous successes of the Act. Finally, I will talk about how the Act is being treated today. So let's begin by talking about what the Endangered Species Act is. The Endangered Species Act was passed in 1973 by President Richard Nixon. The many rules and regulations of the Endangered Species Act are outlined by Carter Roberts, who has an MBA from Harvard, in a report for the World Wildlife Fund database published in 2019. He states that the Endangered Species Act prohibits the harming and killing of United States native endangered species and prohibits the import and export of these species. It also protects land crucial to these species' survival and requires the development of recovery plans for each of these species. It also helps endangered species in other countries as well by placing rules and regulations on trade and commerce that involves parts and products from these endangered animals. Now that we understand what the Endangered Species Act is, let's talk about how successful the Act has been since it was passed. According to Aurelia Skipwith, who earned her Bachelor of Science in Biology from Howard University and is currently the Director of the Fish and Wildlife Service, in a report for the Fish and Wildlife Database published on July 12, 2013, 27 previously endangered species have been brought back to a recovering state since the passing of the Endangered Species Act, commonly known as the ESA. The Act has over a 99% success rate in preventing extinction of threatened species, and most of the 1,600 plant and animal species currently protected under the Act are in a recovering state. It is estimated that without the passing of the Endangered Species Act, over 200 species may have gone extinct. Now that we understand how successful the Act has been, we can take a look at how the Act is being treated today. On August 12, 2019, the Trump administration announced amendments to the ESA regulations. Under these new rules, animals and species classified as threatened will no longer receive any sort of protection. It also allows for the destruction of habitats crucial to these animals' survival. Under these new regulations, economic-based decision-making will have a huge advantage over science-based decision-making and how to deal with these problems. All of this gives our endangered species a much, much lower chance of surviving. First, I talked about what the Endangered Species Act is. Second, I talked about previous successes of the Act. Finally, I talked about how the Act is being treated today. Despite the overwhelming success of the Endangered Species Act, it is in serious danger of being damaged significantly. Protecting our threatened species is very important, and the ESA has had a great impact on our wildlife as a whole. If we continue to attack this Act, we may risk losing species at an extremely high rate.